for 6 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank my good friend, Representative Fátima Vega, for not only yielding me the time, but for working with us on this important resolution. I also want to thank his staff, who has worked in unison with my staff as well, in an expeditious way to get this bill to the floor as soon as possible, the resolution to the floor as soon as possible. The chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee as well, Congressman Berman, the ranking member, Ross Layton, and the other members of the committee for their quick movement on this resolution. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to express my deepest condolences and sympathy to the people of Burma for the grave loss of life and vast destruction caused by Cyclone Nargis. Burma was hit by the cyclone more than 10 days ago, and its impact has been nothing but devastating. To date, it has claimed an estimated 100,000 lives. It has robbed more than 1 million people of their homes, and tens of thousands of people are still missing and unaccounted for, while millions are struggling to survive without access to clean water, food, or shelter. And shamefully, the military junta of Burma, showing no regard for the lives of their fellow Burmese, did little to warn the people in the cyclone's path that it was coming, and they have done little to help their own people in the aftermath of this natural disaster. Instead of providing much-needed emergency humanitarian aid to its people, the junta pushed forward with an election to pass their sham constitutional referendum. At a time when all resources should have been focused on saving the lives of survivors, struggling to find food and clean water to stave off starvation, disease, and death, the regime deployed personnel to campaign in favor of the referendum, manning polling stations and to fill state television with images of dancing girls urging people to vote in favor of the amendment to change their constitution. Aside from failing to use their own resources to help the people, the junta would not even accept outside resources to aid the devastated communities in the aftermath of the cyclone. Immediately after the cyclone hit, the United States Embassy in Burma authorized $250,000 in emergency assistance that it does whenever such an emergency takes place around the world. President Bush also swiftly followed by pledging an additional $3 million, the assistance of the U.S. Navy assets in the region, a disaster assessment team, and any additional aid that would be needed. And the United States Agency for International Development Administrator Henrietta H. Ford announced an additional $13 million in aid to Burma, bringing the total value to U.S. government assistance to more than $16.3 million. Yet most of these funds and offers have gone unaccepted. To date, the junta has allowed only one plane load of U.S. emergency aid to enter the country, and it is unclear if that reached the survivors at all. While estimates from the International Humanitarian Organization in Burma reveal that more than 1.5 million people are on the brink of death unless aid reaches them immediately, the Burmese military regime continues to deny international aid workers entry in the country. Yesterday, at a meeting in Rangoon, a Burmese cabinet minister told relief agencies that foreign aid workers are prohibited from entering the disaster zone and must present all of their supplies to the military for distribution. The regime does not have the capacity or skills to handle this major humanitarian crisis, yet it continues to deny visas to disaster assistance teams that can help. It has allowed only the smallest trickle of international aid into the country. At this point, in the post-tsunami relief operation, the hard-hit region of Aceh was receiving one aid flight every single hour. In Burma, the regime is only allowing 3 or 4 flights a day after not allowing any in the first 5 days after the cyclone hit. Efforts to ensure aid reaches the survivors of the cyclone are continually hampered by military officials who will not allow aid workers, foreigners, diplomats, or journalists, or even ordinary Burmese who want to help their fellow citizens access to the hardest-hit areas. Many of the affected communities have received no aid from the regime or any aid agency. To make matters worse, it is being reported that the junta is also selling aid supplies in local markets. Mr. Speaker, that is simply unacceptable. Just yesterday, China experienced its own natural disaster, a massive earthquake measuring 7.8 on the Richter scale, and our hearts go out to the victims of that disaster. But China, unlike the junta in Burma, immediately acted to help the victims and the citizens of its country. To react to a natural disaster and provide aid to its citizens have a moral obligation to do so. China's actions in the United Nations Security Council to prevent efforts to invoke the responsibility to protect in Burma is appalling. It is truly saddening, but not surprising, to see the Burmese junta turn a blind eye to its own people. The United States, along with the international community, understands the gravity of the situation, even if the military regime in Burma does not. Even in the wake of one of the most deadly natural disasters, they refuse to provide the proper humanitarian assistance needed to ensure the health and survival of their own citizens. Mr. Speaker, the bill before us is about making clear to the people of Burma that we stand with them and that we will continue to push the junta to accept our assistance to help those in aid. And Mr. Speaker, with that, I will yield back.